What makes a good online mixing and mastering engineer? Now, there's two very different things here. There's an online mixing and mastering engineer and like a standard attended session mixing and mastering engineer who's just a mixing and mastering engineer as standard, right? Being an online mixing and mastering engineer is very, very different. It is so different in the sense that there are a lot of things you need to take into account. Now, one thing is revision processes. You know, when you've got an attended session, someone comes in, you work with them, they walk away with the finished mix. Now, when you're working as an online engineer, now let me just quickly explain what I'm talking about in regards to an online engineer. So basically, orders are placed via the internet, via a website. Orders are taken, you do the mix. The artist never attends the session. You finish the mix, you send it back. This is the way we work. We've worked like this now for 11 years. We adapted from being an attended session studio and working ourselves in attended sessions. We took a business online, and basically because the reasons being is we can work with the entire world rather than just work with local community or people that want to travel to the studio. So there's massive benefits in being an online mix and master engineer, but the problem you've got is all these different problems that you face and things you have to learn. So with regards to being an online mix and master engineer, now when you work with someone, there's a lot more revisions involved because you're taking a song from someone, they have a vision. Now what you need to do as an online mix and master engineer, you need to take that song and still keep their vision, which is very difficult. And when you first start doing this, you won't get it straight away. I mean, I'm 11 years in on just doing online mixing and mastering every single day. And you can still get it wrong, obviously, because they have one interpretation of how the mix should be, you have another interpretation of how the mix should be. What it comes down to is reading what that client wants and what they want it to sound like. And that's why what you always do is you'll always request a rough mix demo, which is basically, as far as they can take it, it's a mix of their song, how they intend it to kind of sound. So as long as you keep roughly to that reference, they're going to be happy with it. If you deviate too far away from that reference, they're going to go, well, that's not my song anymore. Now, if the client was in the studio with you, here's the difference. If the client's here in the studio with you, they can go, I'm not keen on that. Let's dial that back. And they can advise you there and then, definitively say, right, no, that's going the wrong way, we want to go this way, because that's their vision. Now, the problem with an online mixing engineer and a service is that you don't find that out until you send that back. So if you are going to try and be an online mixing and master engineer, and what you're going to try and do is take the song, let's say as dry stems, you take the song as dry stems, you mix it from the ground up, you do all the delays, reverbs, you apply all these different creative effects, you send it back, and I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 the client will turn around to you and go, what on earth is that? That's not my song anymore. That's the problem you've got. And it's fine to do all that sort of stuff when the client's standing there with you, because you can work together on it. Whereas when you're working over the internet, the problem you have there is you can't make those instant decisions unless they're on a Zoom call, for instance. And then when you start doing those sorts of things, like you do a Zoom call or you do a remote access and they're watching you, or the remote access and you're talking through things. Now that's great, and I've done it many a time. The problem with it is you have to charge 5 times more because it takes 5 times more time to do it. So to scale, like as a business, to get the best rate for the client, you trim all the fat. So you take all that out of the equation. Now, where it works is that you, as an engineer, you have to, over a period of time, and what makes you a better engineer over someone else is that you will know exactly what you're doing. You'll know how to read that client. You'll know how to read an email and just be like, right, I know exactly what he means. Because what's very hard is reading an email. And believe me, 1, 2 years in, 3 years in of me doing this, now 11 years on, I can read an email and understand exactly what the client wants. But when you start out, it's very difficult. It's like reading another language, because you've got to interpret what it is that they want from an email, which is difficult, and it's not easy to do. So these are challenges that you will face, and these are the things that separate the good engineers that do online mixing and the bad engineers that do online mixing. A bad engineer can't read what it is that the client wants. A bad engineer will move too far away from the reference. A bad engineer won't even ask for a reference. They won't even ask for the rough mix, because they don't care if they move away from, or they haven't even thought that it would be an issue if they move away from your original sound. So all these things massively factor into it, but these are challenges that you will face